The Elder. In the world of John Wick, the High Table is the highest authority over all assassins. It's been around for centuries, even longer than most governments. Although its power is clear throughout the films, we still know very little about how it really works. The High Table has 12 members and controls a large group of agents and enforcers, but only a few of them have actually been shown so far. The Elder is the most enigmatic and powerful figure within the John Wick universe, existing above the High Table itself. Rather than occupying one of the 12 seats of the table, the Elder holds the singular title of the one above the table, making him the final authority in all matters concerning the assassin underworld. His decision overrides the council, and his word is considered absolute law. This position is not tied to one individual, but rather is passed on, meaning there can be multiple Elders across time. First appearing in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, the Elder lives in seclusion in the Moroccan desert, surrounded by loyal agents. His duties include granting or revoking excommunicado status, pardoning those who defy the table, and maintaining the philosophical foundation of the assassin world. While he does not engage in violence directly, he ensures absolute control through ceremonial authority. After John Wick kills Santino and is declared excommunicado, he seeks the Elder's pardon, offering his ring finger and loyalty in return. However, in Chapter 4, Wick turns against the table and hunts down the newly instated Elder, ultimately killing him. Despite his death, the position of Elder is expected to continue, as the power structure of the table demands it. But before we explain every High Table member, a real quick ask that if you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button now. It's one small click for you, but a huge deal for us. Thanks. Marquis Vincent de Gramont. Marquis Vincent de Gramont is one of the most high-ranking figures introduced in John Wick Chapter 4. Appointed directly by the High Table as their primary enforcer and representative, his official title is Marquis of the High Table, but he also holds the rank of Autem Imperator, a rare and powerful designation translating to Commander of Authority. As an Autem Imperator, the Marquis operates above adjudicators and harbingers, possessing the unique authority to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Following the death of the Elder, the High Table empowers de Gramont to restore order by eliminating John Wick and reinforcing the table's dominance. His duties include revoking privileges such as destroying the New York Continental, executing those who assist Wick, and organizing formal duels under High Table law. While he avoids direct combat, he strategically uses assassins like Caine and Mr. Nobody to carry out his goals. De Gramont also manipulates the table's archaic traditions, challenging John to a duel but deceitfully appointing Caine as his champion. This cowardly strategy backfires when John outsmarts him, killing the Marquis during the final duel. Though short-lived, his tenure as Autem Imperator showcases the ruthlessness and desperation of the High Table when its power is threatened. The Adjudicator. The Adjudicator serves as the High Table's authoritative delegate, dispatched when violations of the table's law demand official punishment. Introduced in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, the Adjudicator's role is not to kill, but to execute the table's will through formal judgment and coordination of punishment. Their authority ranks below that of the Autem Imperator, but above continental managers, crime lords, and enforcers. The Adjudicator answers only to the table itself and speaks on its behalf. Identifiable by their unique medallion and formal attire, they operate like a roaming magistrate, issuing sentences and demanding retribution. When John Wick violates the sacred rule of conducting business on continental grounds, the Adjudicator is sent to oversee consequences, not just for Wick, but for all who aided him. This includes stripping Winston of his status, punishing the director of the Ruska Roma, and slashing the Bowery King's empire. In carrying out their duties, adjudicators have access to resources, assassins, and High Table privileges. In Parabellum, they hire the assassin Zero and his Shinobi students to pursue Wick. Cold, calculating, and bureaucratic, the Adjudicator is less about blood and more about order, making them a perfect symbol for the High Table's rigid and merciless structure. Gianna D'Antonio. Gianna D'Antonio held one of the most powerful seats at the High Table, serving as the Camorra's representative, an ancient and influential Italian crime syndicate. As a sitting member, she wasn't just a crime boss, she was part of the inner circle that governed the entire assassin underworld. Her role granted her supreme authority within her family's territories and influence across other branches of the High Table. Her duties included maintaining order within her criminal empire, upholding the High Table's rules, and voting on matters that affected the global assassin economy. She was respected for her leadership and feared for her control, commanding loyalty from her bodyguard Cassian and earning reverence from other factions. Her leadership style was elegant yet ruthless, and her decisions were binding within the Camorra's reach. However, her elevated status came with internal betrayal. Her brother, Santino D'Antonio, jealous of her position, used a marker to force John Wick into assassinating her, paving his way to claim her seat. Knowing her fate was sealed, Gianna chose to end her life with dignity before John could complete the job. A tragic act that underscored the cold politics of the High Table. Power is everything, and no one, even a blood relative, is safe. Santino D'Antonio. Santino D'Antonio is a former member of an Italian crime family that held one of the coveted 12 seats at the High Table. While not a direct assassin himself, his political cunning and ruthless ambition make him a dangerous player within the hierarchy. Santino's most defining trait is his use of the blood marker, a sacred token in the assassin world that binds two individuals through an unbreakable oath. After Gianna D'Antonio inherits their family's seat at the table, Santino seeks to claim it for himself. To do so, he forces John Wick, bound by a blood marker from a past favor, to assassinate Gianna. Once her death secures his claim, Santino betrays John by placing a contract on his life in order to eliminate any loose ends. This action not only sparks a massive war between assassins, but also marks Santino as a key disruptor in the High Table's balance. Though he ultimately achieves his seat, his time as a member is short-lived. When he hides within the Continental, assuming he's protected by its sacred rules, John breaks the code and kills him on neutral ground. This act ignites the wrath of the High Table and sets the events of Parabellum in motion, proving that Santino's ambition led to the unraveling of multiple power structures. The Director. The Director is head of the New York branch of the Ruska Roma and a former seat holder under the High Table's vast criminal syndicate. As the matriarchal figure of her organization, her duties include managing the Ruska Roma's covert activities, overseeing new recruits, and maintaining the organization's allegiance and compliance with the High Table. Operating out of the Tarkovsky Theater, the Director also serves as a mentor and trainer, blending physical combat with performance art to shape elite assassins, including John Wick himself. Though not one of the original 12 of the High Table, the Director holds a significant subordinate power status through her leadership of a High Table-recognized organization. This connection requires her to enforce the table's laws and obey its decrees. When she provided aid to John Wick after he was declared excommunicado, she knowingly violated High Table law. As punishment, she was visited by the Adjudicator and forced to show fealty through a brutal act of penance, having her hands stabbed. This act symbolized that even those who operate under the table must obey its structure, hierarchy, and penalties, without exception. Her power lies in tradition, fear, and her deep-rooted ties within the criminal underworld. Pyotr. Pyotr was the leader of the German branch of the Ruska Roma and a recognized figure within the criminal hierarchy governed by the High Table. While not seated among the 12, his role as head of a High Table-sanctioned organization granted him significant authority and influence. He maintained order within his domain and ensured that the Ruska Roma's German faction upheld their obligations to the table's code, providing sanctuary, training killers, and executing underworld operations in Europe. Pyotr was also a father figure to John Wick during his early years, suggesting a deep personal involvement in the development of elite assassins. His rank placed him as a gatekeeper within the High Table system, able to re-induct or banish excommunicated members. This became crucial when John returned to seek reinstatement. Pyotr, however, had been assassinated by Killa on the Marquis de Gramont's orders, eliminating a potential ally for John and disrupting the balance of power in Berlin. His death symbolizes how even high-ranking figures beneath the table can be eliminated if they threaten the ambitions of seated members. His successor, Katya, inherited his position but remained cold and calculating, reinforcing the idea that loyalty to the table outweighs any personal bonds. Chidi. Chidi is introduced in John Wick Chapter 4 as a direct subordinate to Marquis Vincent de Gramont, serving as his second-in-command and personal enforcer. While not a formal seat holder, Chidi operates as a high-ranking field agent within the High Table's chain of command, trusted with executing violent orders and maintaining control in active conflict zones. His position mirrors that of a military lieutenant, carrying out the Marquis' plans without hesitation. Chidi is shown to be fanatically loyal to the Marquis, often taking extreme risks to protect his superior's interests. He leads armed assaults against John Wick, confronts Caine and Mr. Nobody, and even tries to kill Mr. Nobody's dog, an action that nearly gets him killed by Wick. His survival through multiple injuries underscores both his training and his resilience as a High Table enforcer. Despite his ruthlessness, Chidi is ultimately outmatched. In the climactic sequence at the Sacré-Cœur staircase, Chidi attempts one final attack on Wick, only to be stopped by Caine and Mr. Nobody. With poetic justice, Mr. Nobody personally executes Chidi at point-blank range, avenging his dog. Though Chidi holds no formal seat, this role showcases the brutal efficiency and unwavering loyalty expected from the table's elite operatives. The Harbinger. The Harbinger makes his debut in John Wick Chapter 4 as a formal emissary of the High Table. Unlike the Adjudicator or the Marquis, the Harbinger's role is ceremonial and neutral, functioning as a regulatory overseer of ancient traditions and formal agreements within the assassin underworld. His presence signals official rulings, enforced duels, and the legitimization of blood deaths. He ranks beneath the elder and the table's seat holders, yet his word carries undeniable legal weight in their domain. The Harbinger is first seen delivering the official order to demolish the New York Continental, symbolizing the table's absolute authority. He later returns to oversee the duel between John Wick and the Marquis, ensuring that all high table laws and rituals are followed without bias. His role is similar to that of a magistrate or herald, present not to participate in violence, but to maintain lawful process. Remarkably, the Harbinger demonstrates impartiality throughout the film. He does not attempt to influence outcomes or protect the table's interests directly. He emphasizes the importance of fairness in the underworld's strict hierarchy. When John defeats the Marquis, it is the Harbinger who declares the duel's outcome and publicly absolves Winston and Caine of their debts, cementing his role as a just, if emotionless, representative of the High Table. Killa Harkan. Killa Harkan is introduced in John Wick Chapter 4 as the head of the German branch of the High Table, making him one of the few confirmed seat holders among the table's 12 ruling families. Unlike other members who operate from a distance or through agents, Killa is both hands-on and sadistic, personally overseeing his operations with brutal enthusiasm. His flamboyant nature and love for games, particularly his obsession with playing cards, masks a deeply violent and cunning mind. Killa runs a lavish Berlin-based criminal empire and oversees one of the table's most powerful continental locations. His duties include controlling regional operations, enforcing high table law within his territory, and managing alliances or disputes between syndicates. Though eccentric in demeanor, his rank gives him significant influence in the global underworld structure. When John Wick, Caine, and Mr. Nobody confront Killa in his club, it becomes clear that Killa is not just a political figure, but also a formidable combatant. However, his overconfidence proves fatal. Wick engages him in a brutal fight, ultimately knocking him from a high ledge and snapping his neck. Afterward, Wick pulls a gold tooth from Killa's mouth, a symbolic victory and a trophy from one of the table's most colorful yet lethal seat holders. Zero. Zero is a deadly assassin introduced in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, hired by the Adjudicator to execute punishment on behalf of the High Table. Although he does not hold a seat at the table, his position as a contract killer places him among the most elite mercenaries used to carry out high-profile tasks. His role mirrors that of a high-ranking operative trusted to enforce table law with surgical precision. Zero's duties include hunting down John Wick and eliminating those who aided him, tasks he pursues enthusiastically and precisely. He first confronts the Ruska Roma and wounds the director for helping John escape to Casablanca. Throughout the film, Zero's professionalism and deadly skills are emphasized as he leads a group of ninja-like students known as the Shinobi, showcasing the reach and depth of the table's enforcement capabilities. What makes Zero unique is his twisted admiration for John Wick. Despite being assigned to kill him, Zero repeatedly expresses how honored he is to face someone he considers a legend. In their final duel at the Continental, John defeats Zero, but leaves him mortally wounded. Zero ultimately dies from his injuries, representing the fate of even the most loyal and lethal agents when they serve a system as unforgiving as the High Table. Caine. Caine is a blind assassin and longtime affiliate of the High Table, operating as one of its most deadly and skilled agents. Though not an official seat holder, he is deeply embedded in their chain of command and used as a precision tool for special assignments, especially when discretion and lethality are required. By the time of John Wick Chapter 4, Caine is essentially reactivated by the Marquis Vincent de Gramont, who acts with full High Table authority, and is ordered to eliminate John Wick under threat of harm to his daughter Mia. This highlights how the High Table manipulates loyalty and personal bonds to enforce its will. Caine's reputation precedes him. He's feared, respected, and operates with both grace and brutality. His attack on the Osaka Continental is not just an execution order, it's a High Table-sanctioned strike against those who defy their decrees. Though Caine has no personal desire to kill Wick, his forced loyalty shows how the High Table exploits their assassins. Despite his compliance, Caine displays an internal moral code, sparing Akira and showing restraint. His role reflects the High Table's ability to weaponize even its old allies, binding them through fear, duty, and blood. The Shinobi. The Shinobi are elite assassins trained under Zero, a master swordsman and loyal servant to the High Table. While they do not hold seats, they represent the High Table's upper echelon of enforcement, specialized agents dispatched for cleansing operations and direct assassinations. Their presence in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum marks a significant escalation in the table's pursuit of John Wick, showcasing the organization's readiness to unleash its most lethal assets. Acting under the Adjudicator's orders, the Shinobi accompany Zero in a global hunt. They serve as both bodyguards and extensions of Zero's blade, dealing swift punishment to those who defy the High Table. They attack the Ruska Roma, enforce judgment upon the director, and assist in punishing the Bowery King for aiding John Wick. Their role is tactical, ritualistic, and rooted in deep loyalty to the code of the High Table. Despite their ruthlessness, the Shinobi show admiration for John Wick, acknowledging his status as a legendary killer. In their final duel, their reverence allows John to walk away alive, an act of personal honor that contrasts with the High Table's cold authority. They symbolize the table's martial arm, disciplined, brutal, and bound by duty. And that was everyone we know of in proximity to the High Table and a member or so explained. What are your thoughts? Which one's your favorite? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these deep dives and strange lore. We'll see you in the next video.